Welcome, everybody, to number 6 of our call for Conversations of a Phoenix. And my gosh, we've had a lot happen over the last few days, haven't we, since we've had our last call?
Hi everyone, welcome to part six. And yes, it's been quite an intense time and an intense weekend. So I'm so curious what will come up today. We've already had like a short conversation where a few things came up. So I'm really excited what we're going to talk about today.
See where we end up. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm going to start shuffling. Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
And you say stop when you're ready. I'll
Okay.
start now.
Stop.
Mm. It's
Wombat spirit.
Wombat spirit.
What's underneath?
Be at home. Let's
Hmm.
what it says. 68. Burrowing deep into the ground, remaining safe, sound, and well fed with family is a special trait of the wombat. Home sweet home is always available if you recognize that well being is the truth of life. Wombat Spirit reminds you that to be truly at home in the world, you need to find comfort within your own skin. You do this by accepting all your experience without judgment through a deep honesty and love of life. When you feel the freedom to be yourself, you can begin to truly feel at home in your life with your family and tribe. Right now, you're in a beautiful place where you can hang up the coat of your identity and settle into a true sense of home and well being, understanding that all is well. Everything you do from this place rings true in harmony with spirit.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I feel like this year has definitely been a year for well-being. In 2022, I got sick at the end of the year and I had a realization of trust and the body healing itself, and then found my way into this beautiful relationship with God, 23. I thought 2023 was going to be the year of fitness and physical health, but it ended up being this year of deeply spiritual. I don't know what you'd call it. It was wild. 2024, I really thought that was going to be physical health, but I resisted it like every step of the way. I would set myself up for success and then I would just diminish it and demolish it time after time until October of 2024. And then I realized, okay, I really want my health and my well-being to become a priority for me. And it's been happening every single day since then, all the way through into now. And it maybe a feels like this is a platform, like this level of well-being that I found for myself feels like a platform that I can spring off. Lots of things that were the truth before now aren't the truth anymore. Ways I was being with myself, practices that I had, particularly around food, no longer are part and parcel of the way I live. And it feels like I've finally managed to find my way out of disordered eating and a terrible relationship with food and a terrible relationship with my body and heaviness inside myself. And so now I get to sit in this place of I love myself and I'm looking after myself and I have discipline for myself and I'm committed to myself and I'm focusing where I'm supposed to be focusing. And it feels really good, like really wholesome. So I'll take the wombat.
No, thank you so much for sharing, Kira.
Mm,
Yeah, there's being at home in yourself is a really big issue for me too right now because I think I've been so much in the outer world with my focus, with my energy, with doing so much for other people and caring for their problems and um, that I was always second.
mm,
And this is now the time for me, with all the lessons that I had over the last years, it's bringing me back to my core, to myself. And the more I do that, it's just so beautiful because I have so many facets and it's so interesting to follow this calling. And I finally started listening inside. Even when the noise is loud outside and when there is drama and everyone needs so much. And I was caring so much for other people that I totally forgot about myself. And with all the lessons that came over the last years, um, yeah, I had to focus on myself because I almost burned out and I had no energy left and I had no joy. It wasn't joyful because I was always following the leads other people made. And yeah, it's setting up these boundaries and sticking to your boundaries. And this is like the last few weeks were so intense with sticking to my truth. And I felt it so deeply. I was in a relationship that didn't feel well, and we'd split up like a couple of times. And my brain always took him back. No, it was like, oh no, yeah, this is safety and this is comfort and this is what I know. And why not? And there's no other option anyway. And it didn't feel all right, until my nervous system got so stressed out and I had all these pains in my body and I couldn't think straight anymore. And I realized I can't override my nervous system any longer. And I had learned that years ago, you know, and I made
yeah,
steps, little steps. But yeah, now I make bigger steps.
I
So,
love that.
and I just, yeah, I listen so much more to my truth.
Mm,
And and with doing that, my nervous system calms down and I feel so much more relaxed. And the more I calm down and set my boundaries and tell my truth and live my life and follow the joy that I have in my life, the more I relax and the calmer my nervous system gets. So this is like a circle. Yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful. I love that. And I love that you're putting yourself first. And boundaries are so key. And I think what both of us have just said, so many women feel and maybe don't even vocalize, they don't even speak to it because sometimes they don't recognize these patterns and these ways of being. But it's so beautiful to be able to get off the hamster wheel, and finally take that breath and sit back and take the time for ourselves to be at home in ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's such a settled place.
Absolutely. And the thing for me was I was always judging myself. That's why I couldn't move on because I was always judging myself. Oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be like that. All this critic. inside of me, and now it's sort of, I do just acknowledge it. This is me. I'm
Yeah.
learning. This is my journey. I'm not at the end of the journey yet. And there'll be challenges always.
Mm.
And there'll be lessons that they'll ask you, you want to stay on that track or you want to go on the other track? And then you can decide. And if you
Yeah.
decide, no, I still want to stay a little bit more on this track, then it's okay because you've decided so.
Hmm.
And I
Oh,
think this is a big lesson for me too, to be compassionate with myself because I'm so compassionate with everyone else, you know?
same.
Oh yeah, they are like that because that happened to them and what.
Yeah.
But with myself, I it's a big lesson to learn, and I always remind myself, have compassion with yourself. You
Mm.
are on a learning journey and you're doing your best. We're all
Mm.
doing our best.
And that phrase comes to mind, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And so if we flip that, do unto yourself how you would do unto others, because like you just said, how quick we give grace and compassion to the people in our lives and other people that we meet and that we see. And then how slow we are at applying that same thing to ourselves. And if we apply it to ourselves first, we have even more of it to give everyone else rather than less of it. So, yeah, I love that. Yeah, amazing. Do you want to pick a card for you?
Yes, I
Yeah.
just wanted to say that. Let's pick another card.
I was hoping you'd say that. I want to know what you get.
Oh, so I picked the card now.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. Wait, it says Rhino spirit, overcome any obstacle.
I love it.
Nice
That's a
one.
gorgeous card.
Yes, so beautiful. Look at it.
Look at that.
So
Stunning.
beautifully adorned. Oh, so I'll just quickly read to get the essence.
I feel like that would be a really good kids book. The Wombat and the Rhino.
Mhm. We always have the choice to press ahead, and Rhino Spirit Strength offers you the power to break through stubborn obstacles. This animal spirit knows there is more than one way to open a path to what you seek. When Rhino Spirit appears, you're reminded that you have a marvelous ability to overcome obstacles in multiple ways by going around them, shattering them with the force of clear, deliberate intentions, or even transforming them into clouds that drift away by refusing to allow them to limit you. Apply your Rhino spirit with creativity, and no obstacle can stand, for you have magic to make and many ways in which to make it. Your power is awesome right now. Rhino Spirit also wants to remind you that when an obstacle appears to prevent you from getting what you desire today, it means that something much better is coming. Keep that in mind when you consider the nature of the obstacle in front of you now. Great Spirit loves you so much and only wants the best for you.
I love that. Yeah, I like Rhino Spirit. What does that bring up for you?
Yeah, it's what was sad is like when you think you must have this one thing, you must go this one path, and this is the only path because you have been trained to go there, and everything you've done has prepared you to go there. But you're just not getting it. You're not
Mm,
getting there. And I love it when it says like maybe there's something so much better out there for you.
yeah, Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is, and I loved like the having the choice what you do with obstacles.
Mm.
Like, do you do you let yourself be challenged, or do you just go around it, or do you just use magic and somehow it disappears?
Yeah. There's so many choices, so many different ways to do something rather than just getting stuck in, oh no, there's a challenge. What do I do?
Yeah. What does it bring up for you?
Um, well, I'm such a big fan of choice. And I think a few years ago I might have even written something on that whole, when you're faced with a problem, what do you do? And there are so many different ways through it. I'll always see a solution, always. So a problem's never really a problem. Um, but I think that gives a kind of a freedom, when you don't see problems, when you understand choice, when you understand decision, when you understand that usually the only thing that's actually in your way is yourself.
Yeah.
There's no problem, there's no challenge, there's no obstacle, there's just you. That feels liberating.
Yeah. And it's a bit like what we've talked before we started our recording
Mhm.
about about the flow, like
Yeah.
letting yourself be guided. And this is like with our masculine mind, we have a strategy, we have a plan, and
Mm.
and sometimes we get our intuition tells us something totally different, like what you said with the fire, you're all fire, and then you get told, no, you should like focus more on water.
Yeah.
And so this is like if we listen to our guidance, if we go
Mm.
to the feminine flow, back into the feminine flow, then we are always guided. This is so
Mm.
beautiful. 'Cause when you look back on the journey through your life, you realize you were always guided. Even when
Mm.
things happen that seem to be terrible, that seem to be really tough, there's still good parts in it.
Mm.
There is still something, there's always something beautiful that comes out of it. It might take some time,
Yeah.
but it's not only black.
Mm.
It's always, I think that the shadow, the black, the pain that we experience, it it dissolves into light. It brings out the light also.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think that was such a good example, even of what I said of we're the pain sometimes. We are the pain. And obviously when people hear that, sometimes they think, well, you're blaming me. No, it's not about blame. It's not about shame. It's not about guilt. It's about owning every experience and the part that we play in every experience, because we play a part in every experience because we're part of it. We're the common denominator in all of the experiences are in our own lives. But like that with the fire and the water. So I'm on a path of this fire and I'm on it like wholeheartedly. And the guidance comes in, maybe it should be water. And I'm the obstacle. There is no obstacle. I'm it. So by me saying, oh, do I have to change? What do I have to shift? But I'm in this. I create the obstacle. I create the sticky part. I create the block. I create the friction instead of, and the word that keeps coming to me is obedience. And I struggle with it so much. It just follow the intuition. It was fire and now it needs to be water. But that means I have to change right now. Immediately. Yes, right now, immediately. But this is a good path. Yes, but just change and do the water.
There's a better path. There's even a better path. So that's really cool.
I
No,
don't want
that was
it.
the
I want
meaning
to
of
stay
the
on this
card.
path.
You know, this is even a better path, an easier path, a
Yeah,
lighter path.
yeah,
But
yeah,
we
yeah.
always think it has to be difficult, it has to be
Mm,
tough, it has to be struggle.
yeah.
No, no, no. The
And
goddess and the divine wants us to live in abundance and enjoy.
yeah, and
And
have a bit of ease.
absolutely,
But
yeah,
we're so used to the other side
yeah,
that when ease is presented, we also have to put an obstacle there because it can't be easy without it being hard first.
yeah.
But what if it
With
can?
yeah, there's always a drama to be found, no?
Yeah, and we're it.
Yeah,
But doesn't that make everything so much more easy? Because I think this anyway, and I was thinking about it the other day. When we accept responsibility for our entire lives, everything, to me, that feels like freedom. Because if I blame you for something in my life, then I have to, I have an attachment to you. Well, it's your fault that I'm sad. It's your fault that that happened to me. It's your fault. There's an attachment there that now I have to cut that as well as deal with something myself. But if I can say, I'm responsible for me, I'm responsible for my life, I'm responsible for everything in my life and every way it's gone. That means I don't have to attach myself to anyone else. So there's only one process that needs to happen, and that's me for me. To me, that feels lighter. It feels easier. There's no blame,
yeah,
it's
absolutely,
responsibility.
absolutely. And the only person you can change is yourself. So if you blame someone else, you cannot change the other person.
Nope.
You can only change yourself and how you
Yep.
see it.
That just feels amazing. And I remember the first time I thought that. It was years and years and years ago now. And I was doing some piece on personal responsibility. And I remember thinking how easy that would be if everybody could just realize you're just responsible for you. But that means you're only responsible for one person. Do you see? You're not responsible for anyone else. You're not responsible for changing people, for making them better, for saving them, for anything. You're only responsible for yourself. You,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah. And you can choose. You choose your own path.
Yeah,
If we can see it like, I have chosen this path to get here, then
yeah,
there is no blame. There is no, it's clear. I have chosen this path.
yeah.
And everyone else chooses their path. Because if they would do it in another way.
Mm,
So they choose how to
yeah,
be, they choose how to where they want to stay or where they want to go. We all do. We have choice.
yeah. And something came to me yesterday. I don't know whether this is the right time, but it's coming through me, so I might as well say it. There's also a part of that that feels very human. So if I know that I've chosen my path and I know that I'm responsible for me, and I know that you've chosen your path and you're responsible for you, but I feel like I should help you. And you're in the middle of a situation. Something happens. And I see that situation and I should help you. And I've always, right up until yesterday, for my entire life, I have been the person who fully believed that when you see something, you should change it. When you see something, it's up to you to help it. Until yesterday. And I was just coming out of the shower and I thought, oh, I think I'm going to have to change my mind on this one because does it do you any good when I step in to help you? Even if it's a terrible situation, because you've made a choice, you've made decisions, you're on the path that you decided on, and you're responsible for you. So, by me coming in and helping you or trying to save you, what am I doing? I'm actually taking your choice away from you. Is that a good thing? And there's nuances to this. there's so many layers to this because somebody hearing this might say, yeah, but you're just trying to help a person in a bad situation. Yeah, that seems like what's happening, but it's not actually what's happening. We take away a person's ability to help themselves, to save themselves.
Mm.
And
We
that's a
interfere.
big problem.
Yeah, we interfere in their story.
Mm,
And, and we take away their moments of success when they have walked through something on their own.
yeah.
And this I had to learn this lesson very, very hard because
Mm,
um, my parents were, how would you say, I knew so well how their whole situation could change, you know? And I was talking to the one and to the other and mediating and what have you. And it was for me, it was really easy to do that, say, talk to her like that, and she would say that, and da da da. It was totally easy. And I found it so hard that they never did. They never changed.
mm,
They never used any of my advices. And it was so frustrating
yeah.
until I ended up saying, this is your choice, you know? If you want her to change, you have to change. If you want him
Mm,
to change, you have to change. And until you don't change, you stay where you are and you
yeah.
experience what you want to experience because you've chosen, you want to experience that.
Yeah. And that's so hard for people to take on board, that level um of truth. Because then if you apply that same reasoning to kids or to animals, so if you see an animal being hurt, what do you do? The difference between kids and animals is, and I don't know whether when I say this, it's me trying to justify it. But so kids and animals, children and animals, they don't have, um, they do have choice, but they're not strong, as in physically strong. So when something bad happens to an animal, we'll say a dog, or when something bad happens to a child, they don't have the physical strength to stop it. So it's not only they don't have the emotional or the spiritual or the mental strength to stop it, they don't have the physical strength. So if a child is in danger or an animal is in danger, do you save them then? Do you go and help them then? And to me, and this was what was coming up in my mind yesterday, yes, because they don't have the physical strength to save themselves. But are we still interfering in a story that's a creation that's been put there for a reason? And that's very hard to reconcile because in most people's mind, you're going, yes, but it's a child, and yes, but it's an animal. And I agree. I would never want to see a child hurt or an animal hurt, ever, ever, ever. And I have had an experience in the last few months where I stepped in, a situation happened with a young person. And I stepped in to make the situation better. And a couple of months later, this young person made another mistake. And the reason they made that mistake was because they hadn't had the opportunity to learn from the first one, because I stepped in and fixed it. And as
Yeah.
soon as I saw what had happened, I realized that's on me. This person has not had the ability to learn this really important lesson because I stepped in to fix it. I took away their opportunity to
Yeah.
learn from a massive situation. Luckily, I got to sit down with that person and I got to have a full conversation and explain that I won't be stepping in again because it doesn't do them any good. So
Mm.
the layers that happen in these scenarios, they're so deep and there's so much involved.
Yeah. I mean, there might be borders that are thin. How would you say that? That they're edges where you
Mm,
have to step in, like when you see
yeah.
someone being robbed, you
Yeah.
can't, and you're there and you could help them. It
Yeah.
wouldn't do good to say, well, that's your story. You've chosen to be robbed.
Yeah. Deal with it yourself. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we have to like, but at that time still we have to listen to our intuition. What is it?
Yeah.
And if we are connected to ourselves, we know if this is a good time to step in or if not.
Mm. And and the other side of this as well is that idea that if we don't do something, are we a bad person? Are we a robot? Do we have no feelings? There are so many questions that a person has to ask themselves. At the same time, those questions come really fast, as do the answers when you're in the middle of a situation. So if I saw a child being hurt, I always will jump in. I saw a video come up on Facebook, and it was an interviewer asking mothers, would you kill for your children? And I was really surprised by the answers because 80% of the mothers said no.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting looking at the screen going, what do you mean no?
Yeah.
Would you kill for your child? Would you kill for your children? And to me, it seems like the easiest answer in the world. Yes.
Yeah.
And then someone came on and they did a funny video and they said in Texas, everyone would say yes. And then they would have margaritas afterwards and everyone would be fine because, you put your kids first. And that's kind of this whole scenario. Where is the line that you draw? Where do you step back and say this person has to look after themselves? Where do feelings need to be switched off? Where is it one person's responsibility over your responsibility? And I don't know, are we even supposed to be asking these questions? Do we?
Yeah, it's a really hard one
Mm,
to accept other people's decisions when you feel that they are the right ones, but they are not the right ones for you, you know? That you feel the outcome is not the best, but the decision is still the right one. Yeah.
yeah,
But
exactly.
this was a really hard one for me, accepting that
Mm.
people or souls choose a path that is painful for themselves and for the rest of the world. And you can't do you can't do anything to make it better, to make it to get around it.
And also, sometimes people don't want the help. They say they want the help,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
they don't want the
But this
help.
is but this is so tough, when
Oh,
you
no.
see it, what is the problem behind? Or you
Mm,
feel it, your intuition tells you, go make this stop. Focus, um do your inner work. Look at the emotional wounds. And people just don't want to see. And they choose to stay where they are.
mm.
And you cannot change anything.
No. Yeah. And again, it really does make you sit back and think,
Yeah.
what is the answer?
Yeah. Well, the answer is that, like, my husband died of cancer,
Mm,
and I had to watch him going through this illness for, well, 6 months. That was the hard times. And there were so many things in his life that could have been like obstacles to overcome, you know? And I had to accept that he didn't want to, he wasn't prepared to do the work.
Mm.
And his soul had chosen to go. And my soul had chosen to be with him and let him go. And luckily I was prepared with this soul work.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's really hard to accept soul's choices.
Yeah. And sometimes it's really hard to accept people not accepting help.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the human side of us.
yeah, yeah. And you, I wanted to save him. You know,
Yeah.
I wanted to save him, but he didn't want my help.
Yeah.
And I had to accept that
Mm.
that's what it is.
And these are the big conversations that are so worth having when you can, I want to say remove the emotion from it,
Mm.
but I don't mean for that to be emotionless. I mean all those emotions that we put on top of the truth. Anger, justification, validation, the need to be right, righteousness. If we remove all of those and we say, this person chose the path that they're on, it's not my responsibility, it's theirs.
Yeah.
And everything that happens after that is of their choosing. That doesn't mean you're not feeling what they're going through and you're not
Yeah.
seeing what they're
Yeah.
going through.
This is an explanation that helps, that really helped me
Mm,
because there was no asking, why did that happen to me? Why did it happen to him? Because I knew why, but still, I missed him so terribly.
mm,
The, the, the deep grief was there. And as you said, the anger was there. How could you leave me?
mm.
So even when you know when you do your inner work and you know that there are soul contracts, it helps. But the pain is still there.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
I think these things happen because this deep pain, these deep feelings open us up for not only like the because we've grown up like not showing our emotions, not living our emotions. But when we experience such deep emotions like grief and anger and sadness and disappointment and aloneness and pressure, you start feeling so deeply,
Mm,
but you also start feeling so deeply the joy that small moments can give you,
yeah.
the pleasure that a moment with your kids at the beach, in the mountains, what have you,
Mm,
playing cards. These moments get so much more precious.
yeah.
And and you feel those moments so much more deeper.
100%. And I think, funnily enough, the two cards that we picked very much hold the resonance to everything that we've been saying in this conversation because the more we can come home to ourselves, and be settled in ourselves with the responsibility of choice and decision that we have. And the more that we can understand that the only obstacles standing in our way are ourselves, it's all about us. It's always only ever about us. And that's not in a self-centered or self-obsessed way. It's the truth.
And actually, it's self-empowerment because we
Yeah.
have the power. We have the choice and the power how we want to live our lives, how we
Mm.
want to see things, and how we want to walk through things.
Yeah. Mm. Just a little conversation for a Tuesday. Nothing big.
Nothing special.
Nothing special.
Being triggered by a wombat and a rhino.
A Wombat, I'm telling you, it's going to be a great kids book. Oh my goodness.
And I love the
Yeah,
beautiful images. Show you the images. Oh,
gorgeous.
yeah.
Can't believe I got a Wombat and you got a Rhino. Yours is cooler than mine. I
No, it's just a little cooler because of all the flowers.
love the
You
flowers.
have, look at that. You have this beautiful, what's it called? Headdress? No.
I'm
Look,
getting visions of
beautiful jewels.
what's that movie? I like to move it, move it. You like to move it, except they
Yeah.
were, what were they? What were
Uh,
those characters?
I can remember.
Oh, I love that movie. I think I might have to watch that later today. Oh, guys, we hope you enjoyed this conversation and that you can find yourself somewhere in it.
Yeah, it was a very interesting, deep conversation we had.
Mm,
And yeah,
and beat it.
sending you all our love
Yeah.
and
Big kisses. Mwah.
big kisses, and hope to see you in our next video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, all the best. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.